have dreamt of this. You disgust me.
Do you want to know why?
Everything you stand for.
Freedom scares you. How confident you are.
We're done here.
Confident and terrified.
You're finished.
And you're too late. The rebellion isn't here anymore. It's flown away. There's a whole galaxy out there waiting to disgust you.
No one, literally no one, thought Andor would be good. A prequel series, sure, but about a guy who already died in a 6-year-old movie. Who asked for that? But it was. It's actually so good, it's scaring Disney. Andor has redefined what rebellion means, and is starting a rebellion of its own. Not just in Star Wars, but in how writers write rebellion itself. And now, every Star Wars show is going to be compared to this. And the bar is pretty high. So what's the secret? What did Andor's writers do that made this quiet, grounded series more powerful than lightsabers and legacy characters? Because it doesn't rely on high-profile cameos, or even the Force, and yet you're hooked. So how does Andor pull this off? Let's break it down. Against all odds, Andor pulls off something remarkable. A prequel about a character who died years ago. No lightsabers, no Force, no famous heroes. Just a man trying to survive and a rebellion that begins in whispers, almost invisible. And yet, it became one of the most powerful Star Wars stories in years. Why? Because Andor isn't about grand legends. It's about choice, and what drives people to rebellion. He's terse, cautious, and always keeps something back. He's not looking for a fight, just trying to survive. He thinks if he can just get enough credits, he can get himself and his mother away from the Empire. Along the way, he witnesses why others fight and feels the Empire's cruelty firsthand. The more they control and hurt Cassian and those close to him, the more he realises he can no longer ignore it. Faced with a crushing system, he makes a choice. He can no longer accept the way things are. And that's the first lesson. Rebellion doesn't start with destiny, but with choice. Many accept the world as it is. Some decide to resist. It's important to show why characters make that choice. Andor takes its time here because changing a misbelief isn't easy. Cassian believed he could run from this. That was never an option. Andor works because it shows how rebellion grows from personal decisions in the shadows, long before it becomes a revolution. But here's where Andor gets uncomfortable. Rebellion isn't glamorous. It's messy, morally complex, and often brutal. Remember when Cassian kills the corporate security guards in the first episode? Or when he kills someone because they saw Bix's face? These aren't the actions of a traditional hero. They're the desperate moves of someone surviving in an authoritarian system. The Empire isn't just faceless stormtroopers. It's bureaucrats pushing paper. It's everyday people choosing to look away. It's prison systems designed to crush the human spirit. Just the grinding reality of oppression. For most people in the galaxy, the change was slow. The leaders and senators were the same. The control increased over time. People adapted. They learned to look down, not make waves. Until one day, the rules become unbearable. When writing rebellions show the true cost of both oppression and resistance, don't glorify either. The Empire's cruelty is mundane and systematic. The rebellion's response is desperate and sometimes ugly. When the prisoners rise up, or people riot against the Empire on Ferrix, we feel it viscerally because we've experienced their degradation. Their victory matters precisely because it's messy and imperfect. And it's about ordinary people. This is where Andor truly separates itself from everything that came before. While other Star Wars stories focused on mystical chosen ones, Andor shows us ordinary people making extraordinary choices. Take Luthen Rael.
I burn my decency for someone else's future. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see.
That's rebellion. Sacrifice without the promise of reward. Luthen has made his peace with sacrifice. He's emptied himself completely, forging himself into weapon against the Empire. He knows he likely won't survive to see freedom, and he accepts this cost willingly, eyes wide open. Cassian, meanwhile, still believes he can outrun it all. He talks about his life after everything, but he doesn't make it out. Consider Mon Mothma. Not just a rebellion leader, but a woman navigating impossible choices between family, duty and principle. She leads a double life while secretly risking everything to keep the spark of rebellion alive, long before there's any promise of success. And she does it all without recognition, thanks or applause. When writing rebellion stories, you need to include ideological tension. What are your rebels willing to do? What lines won't they cross? What happens when they disagree? These conflicts create depth that standard good versus evil narratives struggle to achieve. When your rebels argue about methods and morality, or when you see the cost they pay, the audience feels the weight of their choices. But what about hope? Isn't Star Wars supposed to be hopeful? The brilliance of Andor is that it finds hope not in easy victories, but in moments of genuine human connection, and in the dream that things can be better and that they will see freedom again. What makes this show truly revolutionary is that it never flinches from the brutality of rebellion. People die, communities are decimated, the cost is real and visceral. The Empire's brutality isn't sanitized, and neither is the rebellion's response. It's messy, chaotic, and often tragic. This brutality reaches its peak in Season 2, Episode 8, the episode that depicts the Gorman massacre. Not just in the eyes of the audience, but for the characters too. Most notably, Cyril finally realises what he's been a part of. He confronts Dedra, suspecting she has known all along. Once that is confirmed, he leaves and walks out into the massacre. His whole worldview is being shattered around him. And worst of all, he was a part of it. He'd been acting as a catalyst for years. The most powerful rebellions are personal and collective. Show individual transformation alongside community resistance. When your character's inner journey aligns with the external revolution, both storylines amplify each other. But even through the brutality, the rebels still hold on to hope. Nemik's manifesto spreads throughout the galaxy.
Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. The Imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort.
Even the head of the ISB knew it couldn't be stopped. The true victory isn't winning a single battle. It's deciding that resistance matters, even when victory seems impossible. And this is where Disney never expected to go. Andor has forever changed what Star Wars can be. It proved that the galaxy far, far away doesn't need Jedi, Sith, or Skywalkers to be compelling. It showed that slow acts of rebellion from ordinary people can build up and help turn the tide. Most importantly, it demonstrated that audiences appreciate stories that don't simplify rebellion into a clean, heroic narrative. Real rebellion is fought by flawed people making difficult choices, people who sometimes fail, who disagree about tactics and morality, who sacrifice everything for a future they might never see. If you want more writing analysis and tips on writing great stories, I put out new videos every single week, and you don't want to miss them.